Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to PyroFalkon's Let's Play Extravaganza, where it is your Let's Play 2. This is episode 2 of the Novelist. If you saw the last episode, we are apparently a ghost trying to help the Kaplan family deal with this little mini vacation they have for themselves, as the father, Dan, wants to work on his book, the mother, Linda, wants to work on her painting and rekindle her romantic relationship, or some relationship with her husband, and the son, Tommy, wants to do family things and try to probably be closer to Dad. One of the things I forgot to mention at the conclusion of the last episode was that I noticed that Tommy didn't have any paintings or thoughts or information or anything about his mom. I find that very interesting. He must not have a close relationship with Linda unless there's more going on here than meets the eye. But right now, as you can see from the title card, the Kaplans are asleep, so we're going to explore the house for clues about the house's past, and then whisper some sort of decision to Dan, whatever that means. I guess we'll find out as we go. Nice. I like the black and white. Like, whoa. By learning the desires of more than one character, you've earned the ability to find a compromise with one family member you didn't choose in the previous chapter. Press tab to view the possible compromises, okay? So, okay, explore the house and whisper your choice to Dan. You can also find a compromise with an additional character. Okay, so like, since we found all of this yesterday, and we were able to talk to Linda and Tommy, we know that Linda could get a bottle of wine, and maybe she can do a little dating with Dan while he writes ideas in his notebook, or maybe he can do that with Tommy if we get the Racing Roger game. And I will deal with that momentarily. But I can already tell this game's going to be a little personal. Now, I warned, that might be too strong of a word, warned you in the last episode that when Lena, also known as Crowbeak, did suggest this game to me, she wound up eventually warning me that the game would be too personal for me and suggested that I not play it for the channel, which made me want to play it for the channel even more. And one thing I have prided myself on being a YouTube creator is that I don't have a character. I'm a sincere and open person because I don't have the intelligence not to be. It just is what it is. And so in situations with this game, you know, I can talk a little bit about how the game is personal to me. For example, my parents divorced when I was 4, and I was never very close to my father, although he wanted to be friends with me all the time, which wound up turning badly recently, a few years ago, when I realized and thought back on my life and realized my father was never much of a parent. He was a very good friend, but there were times, even at my old age of 30-ish, that I needed a parent, not a friend, and he could not and does not provide that for me. So I'm already feeling a little sympathy toward Tommy for wanting to get closer to Dan, just to have something that I didn't really have as a kid. But we'll see how the story develops. From the desk of Harold Baxter, January 16th, 1948. 48? How old's the game? Oh, well, I guess he's typing on a typewriter, so I suppose the game is probably set fairly old. I didn't recall seeing a date anywhere else, but anyway. Standing in the kitchen, drinking coffee and admiring the view. I simply don't understand it. Who wouldn't want to see this every morning? That appears to be the great question of 451 Timberline Road. I slept very well last night. It's a good thing the previous owners left the house furnished. It was just about as quiet as anywhere I've ever been. The only sounds today are the ocean and a few birds. After I finish breakfast, I plan to begin my inspection. Later. I was inspecting the upstairs walkway to make sure the railing was sturdy when I saw something odd downstairs. I'm not certain I can describe what it was, and I've already talked myself halfway out of thinking it was anything at all. It was probably just a trick of the light coming through those big windows. Must be referring to me, us, as the ghost. So this house has apparently already been haunted or something. So we, as a ghost, must have been around for a while. That's what I meant to say. Alright, so Linda's dreaming or thinking of her painting. I guess Dan was thinking of his book, but he's not saying anything now. He was saying something about Tommy, says the Akamura, who is... Oh yeah, there he goes again. Tell Tommy. Oh right, because in the last episode we learned that he was worried about telling Tommy a white lie, referring to his book. I don't know, is there anything I need to do? Let's see, what happens if I whisper? Oh, okay, so I whispered the choice. Okay. And I kind of screwed this up because I didn't do the compromise, I see. It came to Dan in a flash. He'd written down an idea in an old notebook before coming to the house. It had somehow fallen beside the desk in the bedroom, and he had no clue what gave him the idea to check there. He found... Okay, looks like you're going to have to read those yourself when those pop up. Dan's mind was elsewhere when Tommy tried to get his dad to play Racing Roger with him. Linda found Tommy trying to play the game by himself after dinner. She sat down and played a few games with him to cheer him up, but she could tell he really wanted to play with Dan. Oh. I meant to do a compromise. Linda was upset that Dan wouldn't take even a single night off so they could catch up on things and spend time together. She spent the evening reading alone on the couch and drinking the bottle of wine herself, and she spent the next morning trying to deal with the hangover. That hits a little close to home too, because like Dan, I am a workaholic. I may not appear so on the channel, but that's why I've spent each day of the last 3 weeks working on my, The Inheritance. Dan got a letter with some surprising... Must be news. But, yeah. I wasn't going to mention this just in case someone watches this video like 5 years in the future or whatever, but... as I record this, Dragon Age Inquisition came out a few weeks ago, and I was tasked by IGN Entertainment to write the strategy guide, which was really fun and cool. Except Dragon Age Inquisition is such a big game that I had to spend every waking moment of the last 3 weeks playing it. And this is, again, I'm also writing this, or recording this right around Black Friday. And I wound up having to work a full shift at Walmart on Black Friday. You know, come home, put in 6 hours of IGN, sleep, wake up, go back to work at Walmart, come back, keep doing it. You know, I've been doing nothing but playing Dragon Age Inquisition and working at Walmart, and I'm very tired. And this is the first game I have played since Inquisition, since a week before Inquisition came out, since I got an early copy, that I've been doing something else. And I tend to be a workaholic, even though that destroys relationships, which apparently did include my last
Looking
ex,
good,
the woman who I thought would be mine forever. I fucked that up because I got too into working on college and too into working on IGN. So this is another example of Tommy and his relationships, or lack thereof. He's riding bikes with a friend, maybe, but still nothing with his mom. Let's see if we can... Oh, wait, there's a book here. Almost missed it.
I called the co-op today. It isn't wildly expensive, but it sure doesn't fit into the budget. It was a bigger letdown than I thought, not being able to just sign up on the spot. It gets so lonely here sometimes, and I think Tommy's starting to feel it too. We try to play with him every day, and the woods here are pretty magical for someone his age. But kids need to be around other kids sometimes. He can only play with his cars so often. Sometimes I wish there were actual neighbors here. The only friend he's made is Davy, but seeing them at the park once in a while isn't the same as having someone to pal around with every day. It's summer vacation, and he's pretty much all alone.
Shit. That also hits me a little close to home. I mentioned my parents are divorced, and in my when I was a kid, my mom and I moved to Pennsylvania. My dad lives in Indiana, and until then, he got to see me every other weekend. But once we moved to Pennsylvania, obviously that didn't happen. So I I would go to his place in the summer for 2 months every year, and 1 week at Christmas. And the problem with that is I never made any friends during my summer vacations either. I didn't have time. I wasn't physically here, and very rarely did they call me, so I missed all the fun and stuff. And I didn't really have any friends in Indiana because we had moved when I was 9 and I hadn't really met anybody. So that kind of hits close to home too, being lonely. That's one of the reasons why I'm so into video games, because video games are always there even when people weren't. The Literary Register, May edition. Inside, the Books of Summer. Adam Squire's The Interview, America's top small-run publishers. Okay. Clue for Dan, all right. Another paper. Dan, I looked into it, and the guy at the Literary Register said that pre-release ads do drive up pre-orders quite a bit. It's his job to sell ads, of course, so we have to take that with a grain of salt. I usually leave this kind of thing to the guys in the marketing department, so I'm a little out of my depth here, but I checked with them and they said the same thing. So it seems like the ads would make sense if the book is good. You don't want to oversell and underdeliver. I have to say, this is the first time I've had a writer offer to pay for extra marketing. You sure about it? There aren't any refunds if the book tanks. You've got some drive, though. Coming up with an idea like this, I'll give you that. Think about it and let me know. Paul, who is probably his agent. I want one literary agent to take a chance on me, man. Just one. I want to have those conversations. Okay, I see a letter on the kitchen table. Oh, wait, that might be the letter that had the surprising news. Dan, I hope you're doing well. I got this address from your father. I hope it's correct. I'll get to the point. When your cousin Richard passed away last year, we discovered that his pipe business had done very well. He wasn't wealthy, but he was very comfortable. At the execution of his will, we were somewhat surprised to find that he wished to distribute his estate among all living blood relatives. He reserved the lion's share for his immediate family, as I'm sure you'll understand, but there was a portion allotted to you as well. Enclosed is a check for the full amount. I trust you will honor his memory by putting it to good use. Uncle Wayne. Okay. I don't see the check, but maybe we will get that from Dan's memory once we start doing that. What could I... Oh, I could possess the light in the toilet. Okay. Whether your child enjoys arts and crafts, swimming, sports, recreation, singing, or exploring, they're sure to have a ball at Camp Emerald Lake. It's a good name for a camp. For a lake. Yeah. We know that every family has... Actually, Sapphire Lake would be a good name. I need to put that in my book somewhere. We know that every family has unique needs, and we strive to be as flexible as possible. Daily, weekly, and monthly packages are available in both sleepover and pickup options. Our lifeguards are fully certified, and every counselor is trained in the cutting edge of cardiopulmonary resuscitation technique. Wow, I did not think I would get through either of those words without stumbling over them. I'm proud of myself. Our goal is fun, but our priority is safety. The enclosed brochure contains information on all of the exciting opportunities at Camp Emerald Lake. That does not roll off the tongue. We're sure you'll find many things to like, and we hope to see your child soon. Okay. Well, that might be good for Tommy if he wants to go to a camp. That might be really good for him, because then he'll make some friends, and hell, it might give Mommy and Daddy some alone time to try to catch up on their relationship. Wow. Okay, I don't see any more papers or drawings.
Blast off!
Hi, Tommy. Having fun with your thing? Wow, Dan and Linda didn't...
Uh-huh. Hey, Daddy, check this out.
Oh, cool.
Didn't even look at each other. When they approached.
Maybe.
But yes, God, I've said it like twice, but I'm so glad I turned off the... Or I only did the one difficulty level, because holy crap. This is super... Like, it's... Oh, God. Trying to sneak around behind everybody, I think would have made this way too annoying. Way too annoying. Like, I get it, but... This game is about... Did I not read that?
Met Rick once, at a family reunion that must have been, 15 years ago? Turns out he made his fortune by, get this, selling high-end pipes. The Sherlock Holmes kind, not the plummet kind. He must have been a hell of an interesting guy. I mean, he found a niche and made his way in the world. You have to respect that. It makes me wonder, am I giving everything I have to this book, or am I leaving myself an out? It isn't announced yet. I could always pull the plug. I'd never get another advance again, sure, but there isn't a gun to my head. Unless I put one there. Metaphorically, of course.
It's about 5 reactions I have to that, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut on all of them. But anyway, God, whoa. Can you take Tommy out today? Maybe to the beach? I think you could both use some fresh air. I have to be in town by noon, and I probably won't be back till 4. Lynn. Well, okay, we've got all the clues for Tommy and all the clues for Dan.
And I'm going to cut right through the pleasantries and ask you, who is this Ryan that Mom mentioned on the phone? Someone new? Are you trying to keep it a secret, or did it just slip your mind the last time we talked? Spill it! Things here are moving along, I guess. When we came up, I thought it would be great to have more dedicated time to paint, but I didn't realize it would be so isolating. I miss having more people around and having new ideas floating about. I got lucky in town last week, though. I found an artist co-op called Makeshift, and it seems really interesting. It's not too big, but there are lots of different types of artists there. I'll probably call and try to get more details. I don't remember if I told you this, but I've been thinking about going back to painting full time. Anyway, enough about me. Tell me what's up with you. Love, Linda.
Okay, so we've got everybody's clues. Now we just have to get everybody's memories. So Linda wants to paint. Tommy needs a friend. Alright, let's see your memory here, buddy. Okay. Oh, there's something.
I already played with it.
Is that 2 of 2 or 2 of 3? I thought I said 2 of 3. Could be mistaken. I like that the house is small enough that you can quickly explore everything. But I still hear the sound. Like, it got louder as I got to the front door, but I can't get in or out of the front door. Wonder if that means it's upstairs. Anyway, listening for the sound. Yep, there it is. He likes... See, he keeps not drawing Linda. That's weird, isn't it? Read his thoughts for the final clue. Okay, read thoughts. Bring my kite to the camp that Mommy told me about. Okay. So, see, now we've got an out for Tommy. He's considering the camp. Can see the threads. I think I can pull this book off. Right, okay, let's explore your memories, buddy. Oh, there's something this way. I thought, oh, there's something.
And when I finish my book in December,
Don't joke like that.
Joke. Oh, because they're like still 6 or however many months off. They're here in the summer, right? So he was basically stating that it's going to take him months more to finish. Oh yeah, and didn't he have a deadline of like 3 weeks, or is that a separate writing thing? Alright, let's see. Where is the... Oh, there we go.
broke through the fog last night. I found my notebook and it was all right there. Scott takes Alice to the lake to feed the swans, and he's too self-absorbed to switch up his go-to move, and Sarah's there waiting to confront him. He ends up losing them both. It's simple, but it's a clean way to hit the past as anchor theme. I have no clue how I forgot that part, but it doesn't matter now. It's like a dam broke. I got the chapters to Paul on schedule, with enough time to do first-pass revisions. God, I'm glad that's over.
Okay, well now you can take a break and do son things with your son. Send Paul an example ad from the literary register. Okay. Yeah, he's definitely focused on work. Like I said, I can definitely relate to that. Even at the cost of everything else. Okay, Linda. What's going on with your memories? As you nurse a hangover.
Is there something out there?
The entire world's out there.
Linda's a dreamer. I'm not sure she'd be happy with Dan even if I did keep them together. Unless that's another part of the story that my decision in the first chapter would have affected.
I've barely had any journal entries since we arrived, and I'm writing this one with a god-awful headache. Not a good track record so far, Linda.
That definitely would have been
I
different.
tried to get Dan to take a night off last night, but he said he just didn't have the time. So I opened that bottle of wine myself after Tommy got to bed and somehow finished the whole thing. I knew I should have eaten something, and now I'm paying for it. All right, time to see if my stomach's settled enough to figure out where we put the aspirin. It's going to take a while to get used to where everything is in this place.
Okay. Well, we've got some extra money that we could, Oh, I see. We have extra Oh, nice. Everything just clicked in my head. Throw some gear in my painter bag and take it to the co-op. Okay, so we now know we have some extra money because of the inheritance we got. But the ads would cost a lot of money. And Linda wants to do the co-op. And Tommy wants to go to the camp. All three things would cost money. So I'm going to have to not do one or two of those things. Okay. If I had this choice in real life... If I had this choice in real life, cutting myself open raw and being perfectly honest with myself, I wouldn't have the confidence in my novel that I would take an ad out. I already don't have the confidence in my novel anyway after 28 rejections. Well, 29 and 14 no responses. Well, actually, what am I up to now? 29 rejections and 21 no responses. That's what I'm up to now. So at least 50 publishing agents think that my novel, my action fantasy coming-of-age novel, is not good enough for the real world. And again, I'm not talking games, and that's not PyroFalkon talking. That's John Michael Habib, the raw person you're hearing right now. Anyway, so if I'm Dan, I don't have the confidence to take the ad out of the literary register anyway. Linda really wants to paint. Tommy really needs some friends. Let's just do both of those if possible.
Just so monotonous.
I will favor Tommy, so we're going to go find his kite to trigger the end of the chapter. Selecting the kite will choose Tommy's resolution for this chapter. Dan and Linda will be disappointed. However, if you've discovered... Right, okay, I think I'm going to disable that because now we know what that means. Anyway. Okay. So, alright, so this is night 2. Let's see if we can figure out some more about the house. Yeah, explore the house and whisper your choice to Dan. So, learning my lesson from the beginning of this episode, we are going to grab the painter's bag first. But I want to see if I can figure out what's going on with this house first before I like that they have bathrooms in this house, which I know sounds stupid, but unless, like, most games don't render bathrooms because there's rarely anything plot... Oh, excuse me. There's rarely anything plot relevant in a bathroom. So, it would make sense that, like, you wouldn't render it in as necessary, but this house is very complete and lived in, and looks like a pretty cool place, other than the fact that it likely doesn't have internet access, since it doesn't look like the game was even invented during the time of computers, but whatever. From the desk of Harold Baxter, January 19th, 1948. I failed to log my activities yesterday as nothing of note occurred. There have been no tricks of the light for 2 days, and I've grown certain that the ones I saw were reflections from the ocean and probably reaching the house. I've been able to focus on the task at hand and am suitably pleased with the condition of the property. I have also reached a decision on how to proceed. It came to me this morning as I stood in the conservatory admiring the beauty of the forest. I hadn't begun my work yet and was thinking of nothing in particular when an idea came into my head fully formed. I was surprised that it appeared with such clarity, but it's not unheard of for the mind to ponder a question in the subconscious. As for the idea, it is simple. I will buy the house myself. Okay. Whoops. Whoa. Selecting the magazines will choose Dan's compromise. Escape. Never mind. I'm glad I put that safety there, because that would have been not what I wanted to do. Alright, let's go do Linda's compromise. Assuming I find her bag. I guess her bag... Oh, there it is, probably, right? Yep. Okay. Selecting the bag will choose Linda's compromise for this chapter. You can only select one compromise. Yes. Okay, let's see how this works. What? Oh, now I have to... Okay, I get it. I went to the wrong bedroom, didn't I? I love how the lamps are just far enough apart that you can jump between them very quickly. It really does feel like Watch Dogs. Oh, God. It's saying what you should do is blah, blah, blah. Tommy didn't realize at first that spending a week at camp actually meant his parents loved him, but by Tuesday he was elated. He made new friends, flying his kite and swimming with other children his age. His spirits improved almost overnight, and when he connected his new adventures with a gift from his father, Dan became a hero. Dan called the co-op to see if there were any less expensive options and learned that they hosted after-hours workshops on everything from stitching to calligraphy. He offered to teach creative writing twice a month, and the extra money was enough to pay for Linda to paint at the co-op 1 day a week. Cool. I'm happy with how that turned out. Dan decided not to place the ad, and deep down he felt like he was giving himself a vote of no confidence. It was subtle, but he knew that regardless of the book's current state, he had apprehensions about being able to finish it the way he wanted. So he hedged his bets. He couldn't shake the lack of confidence for days, and his writing stumbled. Ow. Yeah. Ow. Catching up. When Tommy continued to struggle. Well, we'll figure out what happens when Tommy continues to struggle. We'll figure out what's happening in the next episode of PyroFalkon's Let's Play Extravaganza. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you tomorrow for another one.